From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Wednesday, July 15th. It is going to be a really hot day ahead. In fact, we're in a weather alert for heat and air quality. Here's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey with what you need to know.
Heat, ozone, haze, all of central and northern Indiana under this alert. For today, the heat index likely getting up to around 100 for some, and then some unhealthy low-level ozone layers. If you have breathing issues, it's one of those days you just need to take it easy if you're going to be outside. So these are the heat alerts, heat advisory, central, northern, northeastern Indiana. Goes through the day today, and then the air quality alert for all of central and northern portions of our state. All right, 74 is where we stand right now. 70 in Muncie, 66 in Richmond, 70 in Lafayette, 74 in South Bend, and 72 in Fort Wayne. The dew point number is elevated today, and that is kind of the big thing with the heat and the heat advisory. It's going to be a couple degrees hotter today, sure, but it's that dew point that's up that's going to make the heat indices a little bit worse. 91 at noon. I'm going to go 94 by 5 o'clock. And we've got feels like temperatures mid and upper 90s. And at some point, I do think we'll crack that triple digit threshold. I've got us as hot as 103 here in Indy, Muncie. Could be even worse up around Fort Wayne, up to 109, 104 in Kokomo, and 103 in South Bend. So super hot. We're probably going to do this at least for one more day.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app, bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecasts, radar, and Indiana sports, all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
There are several ways to beat the heat this week. You can go to cooling centers here in Indianapolis. The city says all of the centers are open from 9 this morning to 8 at night, Monday through Friday. Saturdays, they're open from 9 to 5, and the cooling centers are closed on Sundays. But you can find any cooling center that is closest to you by just calling or texting Indiana 211. You can also cool off by taking a splash in Indianapolis. Indy Parks has 15 pools open for the summer. They're open today from 11 this morning to 6 this evening. The price for a day pass ranges from $4 to $5 for adults to $3 to $4 for kids and seniors. There are now 206 reported cases of a severe stomach bug in Indiana. Marion County makes up for 28 of those cases. That's according to our reporting partners at Mirror Indy. The numbers are a major increase. For example, the Marion County Health Department says there are usually only 3 to 4 cases of this infection in the county a year. Health officials are still trying to figure out the exact cause of the outbreak, but officials say it could be linked to leafy greens and other vegetables and fruits. Thousands of cases have been reported across the U.S., with 2,800 in Michigan so far. Federal and state investigators are looking into whether a restaurant chain, Taco Bell, played a role in connection to the outbreak. That's according to 2 anonymous sources who spoke to the Washington Post. In a briefing yesterday, the CDC says that it has identified a likely link amongst cases in 4 different states, although it did not confirm what that link is. In a statement yesterday, Taco Bell says it has voluntarily and temporarily removed limited ingredients at select restaurants as a precautionary measure. There's no word yet, though, on if those select restaurants are here in Indiana. New this morning, Senator Jim Banks is introducing a bill that would codify President Trump's executive order to reshape the definition of birthright citizenship. The Citizenship Act of 2026 would amend federal law and make it so children born in the U.S. to immigrant parents who are in the country illegally would not automatically be born U.S. citizens. Late last month, the Supreme Court ruled that the 14th Amendment means all people born in the U.S. are citizens. In a statement, Banks says the Supreme Court's birthright citizenship decision was an unprecedented assault on American sovereignty, and we must do whatever it takes to save our country. State records show that Indiana's new Secretary of Commerce runs a company that has received more than $1 million in state incentives. Chuck Goodrich is the CEO of Fishers-based Gaylor Electric. Some lawmakers tell News 8's government reporter Garrett Bergquist that that's a problem no matter what his intentions are.
Records from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation show Gaylor Electric received a $1.3 million payroll tax credit in 2019 for job creation. Gaylor also has several state contracts, including for electrical services at the State House.
The public will not trust an agency that claims it will self-police itself from giving incentives to the company of the CEO, who happens to be the director of the agency. This will create a perception of self-dealing, a perception of lack of transparency, and a perception that IEDC continues to operate in secrecy.
Goodrich says he already has a plan to keep his two roles separate.
Now, how we do that is we have screenings at Gaylor Electric and we have screenings at the state. And so we have people in charge of making sure that there's no issue between the business of the state and business of Gaylor.
Kadura says that does not solve the problem. He says Goodrich should either resign or take a leave of absence from his role at Gaylor, or else Governor Mike Braun should pick someone else.
He's running a business that, if I understand correctly, is moving from $500 million a year in sales to close to $1 billion a year in sales. So there's a conflict in terms of his time and energy.
A forensic audit released last fall found numerous conflicts of interest within the IEDC. The governor says the agency has since adopted new procedures to avoid them. Goodrich says there is a chance his company might apply for new incentives.
If Gaylor is developing jobs at high demand, they will submit just like everybody else on what's going to happen and how they develop people. Because I can tell you that I assume that Gaylor's probably going to need another couple thousand people over the next 4 or 5 years. And so I'm assuming they'll submit just like every other company.
He's not an unethical person. He's just being put in a very difficult position to comply with the public's interest and his obligations. And on a part-time basis, I find that I don't see why it's worth doing for anybody, frankly.
Goodrich also addressed data centers. He says the state should work with local and regional authorities to figure out what's best for a given community. He says community leaders should balance out the costs and benefits of building a potential data center. At the State House, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Independent Indiana Secretary of State candidate Greg Ballard delivered his signatures for November's ballot yesterday. Ballard says that he delivered more than 40,000 signatures to the Secretary of State's office. Indiana law requires about 37,000 signatures to be eligible. Ballard says if he wins, he will serve the voters of Indiana. People in the Crown Hill community are weighing in on how to improve the 32nd Street and Capitol Avenue corridor. The first of 2 listening sessions was held yesterday. Crossroads AME Church led the conversation. The church owns a building at 32nd and Capitol, and it's been unused for years. The church's pastor, Reverend Jerry Davis, says that he hopes the meeting brought ideas on how the building could be used to invigorate the area.
From the residents, what their vision is for the corner of 32nd and Capitol, and having that expressed and shared through the lens of what their needs and desires are for the community.
Pastor Davis says the Crown Hill neighborhood has poor access to groceries and pharmacies. Now they want people to help prioritize the ideas that they shared last night. The next listening session is set for Thursday, July 30th. You can go to the meeting in person or virtually. Investigators in Westfield say a woman has admitted to stealing more than $500,000 from an elderly woman. Federal prosecutors say 51-year-old Shayna Williams met the victim after the two were involved in a car crash. Over the next 6 years, prosecutors say Williams lied about injuries and medical bills she claimed were caused by the crash, and even impersonated insurance agents to convince the victim she would be reimbursed. The victim took out loans, a second mortgage, and worked as a delivery driver to just keep paying. Prosecutors say Williams spent the money on travel, restaurants, and gambling. She's pleaded guilty to wire fraud and will be sentenced at a later date. ICE has paused most vehicle stops following 2 deadly shootings involving agents in 1 week. That's according to a source familiar with the guidance. The directive applies to the ICE division that handles arrests and deportations of undocumented immigrants. Agents are being told to work with partner agencies when serving criminal warrants involving people and vehicles. An ICE spokesperson says the agency is continually evaluating procedure to protect officers and public safety. A House bill to make daylight saving time permanent now heads to the Senate. The House passed the bipartisan bill with a vote of 308 to 117 yesterday. It's called Sunshine Protection Act of 2025. It would end the twice-yearly changing of the clocks, but allows states to opt out. All 9 of Indiana's representatives noted in favor of the bill. In 2022, the Senate passed a similar version, but it was not taken up in the House. Your Statewide News Network covers Lake County, where Indiana State Police say they rescued several chickens from the middle of the interstate. Troopers sent us some pictures. We'll get them on wishtv.com, but they say they found 28 crates of chickens scattered across the ramp from I-80 to I-90. Each crate had about 8 chickens, and there were several loose chickens that were just out walking on the ramp, too. So troopers say what happened is that the truck carrying the chickens hit the median wall, and that caused the crates to fall off the truck. Police say that dozens of chickens did end up dying from the crash, but many others were able to be saved. A Noblesville man got a letter in the mail from Citizens Energy telling him to fix his water meter pit. He contacted Kara Kenny with Indiana's I-Team for help. Now she's digging into why these letters are going out and what you can do about it.
What are we looking at here?
Here's the water meter pit.
Mark Vaught hasn't given much thought to this hole in his yard until now.
And see, there's the water meter right there.
According to Citizens Energy, the lid is too low and needs to be raised about 6 inches. The water company says the lid needs to be accessible if they need to read the meter or if there's an emergency like a leaking or broken water pipe. Citizens says if the lid is too deep, it can also be a tripping hazard.
Right there is what the water company wants the lid to be at.
Citizens found the issue when turning the Vaught's water back on this spring. They leave Noblesville during the winter.
It's been like this, Kara, for 42 years.
It's not clear why Citizens is cracking down now. The letter says to hire a plumber and fix it.
Condition identified as the responsibility of the homeowner.
Mark says he got quotes from several plumbers who told him the repair would cost $1,200.
We've got the $1,200, but I certainly don't want to spend it.
You got other things you could spend that on.
Yeah, my wife, she just went upstairs.
Mark contacted Indiana's I-Team before spending a dime.
I'm fighting Goliath, and I'm David, and I'm hoping you can help me.
Indiana's I-Team asked Citizens Energy how many letters they've sent out. A spokesperson told us it's done on a case-by-case basis. Quote, it is individual homeowners who own their meter pit infrastructure and have a duty to maintain it such that it doesn't get buried or become inaccessible to meter readers, plumbers, or the customer. Citizens also says residents should receive a blue tag before receiving a letter. Mark says he never got a blue tag. He plans to use half of a 5-gallon bucket to try to raise his lid.
And the water company comes out and inspect it, I would say they'll say no, that won't pass.
He's right. A bucket is not an appropriate fix, according to Citizens Energy. The water company says they have no plans to fine their customers over this issue. However, if you don't fix it and there's an emergency, you could be held liable for damage to your property or your neighbors. I'm Kara Kenny with Indiana's I-Team.
Sports now, one of the best junior golfers in the country is in Zionsville. Mac Myers is his name. He's about to begin his junior year of high school, and he'll soon have something in common with a Colts legend, Peyton Manning. Our Andrew Chernoff caught up with him, the golf star, as he continues to climb the rankings.
It feels like Mac Myers lives on the golf course.
I try to get out here 7 days a week, as long as the weather allows it.
The soon-to-be Zionsville High School junior is one of the best young golfers in the state, and he's been showcasing those skills at tournaments all across the U.S. this year, including right here in central Indiana at the Pete and Alice Dye Junior Invitational a month and a half ago. He actually led that tournament after the second round.
I try to balance some where I get to stay home, but this year I've been able to travel the country quite a bit, playing all over.
Myers has quickly made a name for himself across the country. He's currently 53rd in the American Junior Golf Association's national rankings.
At the end of the day, it's just you versus you. You're just trying to put out the best score possible, and so I try to not let rankings bother me at all.
He's hoping to carry that mindset to the next level when he plays college golf at the University of Tennessee. Myers committed to the Volunteers just last month, and it's not lost on him that Indiana sports legend Peyton Manning went there too.
That was honestly like my original poll. Like I'm in the 317 area code, so Peyton Manning's a walking hero around here. And when I was younger, like Tennessee was kind of always on my mind because like you see it everywhere you go, pretty much. Anywhere where you see Peyton Manning, you see the University of Tennessee, and it's great to be following in his footsteps, which I'm really excited for.
Manning was a winner on the field, and Myers is hoping to be a winner on the course as he chases his dream of being a pro golfer.
I'm going to give professional golf a try, and if I improve, I could definitely see myself going down that path, but I could really see myself going into a local professional golfer and being able to teach other people the sport that I love so much.
Myers in golf turning out to be a hole-in-one. Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordo. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.